Hi, this is Terry Draper from Klaatu.
I'm Brendan O'Hare. I used to be in Teenage Fan Club.
Hey, this is Tyler Green.
Owen Radford.
Tino Troy from Praying Mantis.
Lanny Flowers.
I'm Frankie Siragusa, and you're tuning in to Unlikely Places Pop and Rock Radio Show with Vinyl Man Jeb.
You're listening to Mad Wasp Radio.
Hello, everybody. This is your host, Vinyl Man Jeb, on the Unlikely Places Pop and Rock Radio official podcast, brought to you by Mad Wasp Radio and, of course, Vinyl Man Jeb. We have Andy Cahan on today from the Turtles. How are you, Andy?
I'm doing terrific, Jeb. It's great to be here.
Oh, glad to have you. I'm going to get right to the questions for you. I'm just going to start off from the beginning. What got you started in music?
Let's see. Monster movies.
Ah, cool.
I always used to love to watch Frankenstein and Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman and The Bride of Frankenstein and all these wonderful monster movies. And I always loved the music that they had, the scary music.
Yeah.
And so I started to listen to De Meistersinger and Flying Dutchman Overture and The Rite of Spring and, the New World Symphony and all these really cool-ass classical pieces. And I really loved it. And I made monster movies when I was 13 years old. And I put the music from these famous pieces in there. And I belong to the Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine club. Ooh. And I ordered a Frankenstein mask and Frankenstein hands and a hypodermic needle and all this cool shit. And I made 8mm sound movies when I was 13 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really cool. Very cool. And all of those movies are up on YouTube, so you can actually watch them.
Send those to me. I'd be very interested in seeing those. We'll put a link down below for others to see those as well. That'd be awesome. I'd love to watch those.
Yeah, it's in my book. I have a chapter on that whole part of my life, and then I have a page where it shows you all the movies I made, and then it shows you the YouTube links.
Oh, cool. And you guys can get that book on Amazon, I believe, as well, and from Andy himself as well. And we'll be getting into the book in a little bit. Very excited about that. But I wanted to ask some Turtles questions, of course, next. So,
absolutely.
When did the Turtles start? When did that all come about?
Probably 1960 or 61. Mark Volman and Howard Kalin started a surf band. Called the Crossfires, and they played saxophones.
Ooh.
And they did surf music.
Oh, very
back
cool.
then. Yeah, and then they went into the Turtles and did their folk rock thing with "It Ain't Me, Babe" and all that stuff. So it's very cool stuff, and they were really good friends with the Beach Boys and, a lot of cool people in LA at that time.
And you were in since the beginning, correct? Or was it more of a later thing?
Yeah, I joined the Turtles in 1973.
Okay.
And I met Mark and Howard at a rehearsal for 200 Motels.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, Jimmy Carl Black and I started a band called Geronimo Black. And Zappa asked Jim the movie. And so I went with him down to the rehearsal. And I met Frank and all the people that were in the movie, Don Preston and Motorhead and everybody. And I met Mark and Howard. And then later on, after I did a tour with Little Richard, I was hired to do some organ overdubs at Cherokee Studios. And Mark and Howard were there doing a soundtrack to a cartoon they did called Cheap. And the other working title was Dirty Duck. It was a Merricombe Swenson Wolf cartoon. So in the studio, Bruce Robb, the engineer, did all the keyboards for their project, but they wanted to go on the road, and Bruce couldn't go on the road because he had to stay and work in the studio. So they asked me, they said, Andy, are you available? Would you go on the road? I said, yeah. So in 1973, I joined the Turtles.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's got to be an awesome, because that's just one of the bands that I feel like when the classic rock band's brought up, the Turtles are always brought up with, especially at the 60s. And I just saw the Happy Together tour. Seeing Mark Volman on stage was really cool. It was just awesome to see him finally. I've always admired the Turtles and always liked what you guys did, so it was very cool to be able to see at least him, you know. And I was like hoping that there'd be some kind of Turtles show. But
yeah, that was I met everybody I can ever possibly want to meet being a Turtle. I mean, you know, we went to Australia, we went to England.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you know, Europe. We traveled all over the United States, did a whole bunch of television and radio and concerts, and really they made my career for me. I wouldn't have met anybody if it wasn't for Mark and Howard.
Very cool. I mean, you even met Jimi Hendrix, the great Jimi Hendrix. I know I watched that film recently too, that The Night with Jimmy, the Howard Kaylan film there. And it was Dinner with Jimmy.
Yeah.
Dinner with Jimmy. There you go.
Dinner with Jimmy, yeah.
That was a fun one.
I met Jimi Hendrix in 1968. I was working for Pulsar Records as a gopher, and I would pick up all the musicians and take them to recording sessions and take photographs for a billboard and Cashbox, and do the Xerox and get the coffee and do all that. So one of the artists on the label was Graham Bond, who back in England had the Graham Bond organization with Ginger Baker and Jack Bruce, and before the Cream.
Ooh.
And so Graham calls me up and says, we got a recording session going on here. Would you like to come and, pick me up and bring your harpsichord? I had a Baldwin electric harpsichord going through a Leslie speaker. So I had my VW bus, and I picked up Graham, and we went to TTG Studios in Hollywood, and I was setting up my harpsichord, and Lowell George from Little Feat was practicing the flute.
Oh, wow.
And Jack Cassidy from the Jefferson Airplane was on the bass, and Mitch Mitchell was setting up the drums, and Graham was on the Hammond B3, and I'm setting up the harpsichord, and I feel something very, very strange behind me, and I turn around, and there in walks Jimi Hendrix with two girls, blonde chicks, and one of them was carrying his amplifier, and the other one was carrying his guitar, and he comes in and he sets up right next to me in the middle of the studio, and we played the blues in A for 2 hours. And the veins were popping out of his neck, and I had goosebumps, and I was 20 years old, and I wish I had a cell phone to take a selfie.
Yeah, right. Like you just look around, and there's the Jimi Hendrix, and it's like I love that the blues is such a musician's language. I love it so much because I'm a musician as well, and there's so many times I've gone to a bar or a pub and just play, and there's just like, what do you guys want to play? Blues in A, blues in G, or
right.
And it's just such a language that you could all just jam to and just hang out, and for 2 hours, that's insane. I would have been like, I don't know how to, like, I guess time would just become that, like, you just don't even feel it. It's awesome.
Well, the highlight of that recording session is when we ended, Jimmy and I stood in the corner of the studio, and he lit up a joint, and then a roadie joined us. So the three of us were standing in the corner of the studio, and Jimmy started to sing guitar solos. He started to go, and started to sing. And then I started to play the drums with my mouth, like,
yeah.
And then the roadie guy started to play bass with his mouth, so he went, so we're doing a power trio thing with our mouths, smoking a joint, passing the joint around. So that to me was God. That was the most amazing. That was thrilling to me and Jimmy was a sweetheart. Holy shit. He was the sweetest guy. No ego.
That's awesome.
Just right down to earth. Great guy.
And it shows in his music. You could feel it. You feel it. Like when you listen to Hendrix, there's not just it's not just like, oh, he's really good. It's, oh, he's really good. There's a feeling to this. And most of the records I have, I'm spinning those. I have like over 2,000 vinyl. Jimmy's in the collection, of course. And it's just like,
of course.
I gotta throw him on. That needle, the needle needs it. When the needle runs into those grooves, it's happy. It's in like Nirvana,
Do you have him doing Day Tripper with John Lennon?
I do not. I need to hear that.
Yeah, I used to have a red vinyl record that I sold on eBay, but it was Jimi Hendrix and John Lennon on stage.
Wow.
Doing Day Tripper.
Ooh, I need to hear that. I definitely need to hear that.
Yeah, you could Google it. You'll probably find it.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely look that up because that's something that I love all the deep cuts. I have Nine to the Universe album, which has a lot of the oddball stuff, which is awesome, and a couple others I can't remember off the top of my head, but it's just like very cool stuff. Most of the bootleg stuff I have is all the Stones, and some of the Stones like are really funny titles, and it's like it's great, but it's just like I love it. The tracks are so good. And I still go to record stores here where I am in Connecticut, and there's a few that I go to, and just like sometimes they'll be checking out a boot or something, and you hear it, and you're just like, oh my gosh, the quality of this is either really good or really bad, and it's like there's no in between. And then some of them are just phenomenal quality, and it's like, where did this come from, and how much is this one? Like, so it's just really cool. Yeah, It's been really fun. Well, we'll get right into the book. Excited to talk about that as we've already teased it a little bit as well. The book is called The Most Famous Musician You Never Heard Of, a rock and roll scrapbook starring Hendrix, Ringo, Nielsen, the Turtles, Little Richard, Dr. John, Seals and Croft, Billy Bob Thornton, Ray Bolger, Grace Slick, me, and more. What a great title. Just all right out there on the title. I love it. So what
I'm a pack rat.
I love it.
So literally, since 1960, I saved every calendar, every contract, every letter, every postcard, every sticker, every button, every hat, every T-shirt, every vinyl, every tape, every 8-track cassette. I saved it all, and I said to myself 5 years ago, I should put out a frickin' book because this is amazing history. It's a history. It's a history book because of all these amazing celebrities that I recorded and performed with and hung out with. And I saved, and I got the proof. I got the photos to prove it. So it's really a very cool thing.
Yeah, and the photos are so cool. Like nowadays, like I'm more of a photo guy than an autograph guy. I mean, I'll still get autographs, of course, when I meet these people. But I always feel like the photo is more memorable, as you could print it out, put it on your wall, and then the memories are always there. So it's really cool to have that. Like I have every photo from the '60s. That's awesome. Like hearing that is just like really cool. And is that inspired? Yeah. What got you? Is that the reason you got into writing the book? Was just having so much accumulated, or was it more of like I want to do this, plus I want to throw my history into it, or?
Yeah, it was the fact that I was a pack rat and I saved all this shit. And so I said to myself, man, I could put out a coffee table book. And because, as a child, I grew up with compulsory reading in, elementary school. I had to read All Quiet on the Western Front and Of Mice and Men and The Scarlet Letter and all these books.
Classics.
And I hated it. I hated reading. I did not enjoy reading a book, but I really loved looking at pictures. So I said to myself, I'm going to do a coffee table picture book with tons and tons of pictures. And my original concept was a 12 by 12, the size of an album cover. And that was really expensive. So I self-published on Amazon, and the largest they can do was 8.5 by 11. So I put together 344 pages and I got my good friend Jeff Tamarkin, who used to be the editor of Goldmine, and he also did Howard Kalin's book and the Jefferson Starship book, Jefferson Airplane book. So Jeff did a wonderful job editing my book, and I'm really proud of it. I've got like 34 5-star reviews on Amazon, and it's only been out a very short time. And so I'm very excited about it. It really came out great.
That's awesome. And guys, you can get that on Amazon, and we'll link below where you could purchase it and check it out. I definitely am thinking about in the future. At the moment, I'm like, I'm scrambling, but I definitely want to get a hold of that too myself. But
yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. If you just Google the most famous musician you've never heard of, I'll pop right up. There'll be like a whole bunch of stuff that comes up, so you can click on it and then
it's right there.
Get my
power of the
get my email and order it. You can order it directly from me for less money than Amazon.
Oh, perfect.
Autographed and insured.
That's a way better deal right there. Look at that, guys.
Yeah, well, much better deal. Sure.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Well, we'll go a little bit more teasing of the book here for you. We talked about Hendrix a little bit, but I am wearing a Zappa shirt currently, so I wanted to talk about what it was like meeting him, hanging out with Zappa.
Oh my God. Well, because of Jimmy Carl Black, I got to meet all the members of the Mothers of Invention. Everybody, all the original guys.
Oh, wow.
Ray Collins, Buzz Gardner, Bunk Gardner, Artie Tripp, Ian and Ruth Underwood, Don Preston, Elliot Ingber, everybody. So I put together a project for Rhino Records called The Grandmothers, which was all the original members of the Mothers without Frank Zappa and doing their original material.
I have that CD. So, I actually have it right next to me without even realizing that was you. That's very cool. I love that CD.
Yeah,
this is very interesting.
Two of them.
Okay, I have the first one. I think. I forget that. I have to show. I'll take a picture. Yeah.
Yeah, the second one is called "Looking Up Granny's Dress."
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but anyhow, I became good friends with Frank. He would come up on stage when I performed with Geronimo Black, and he would do his takeover and conduct everybody. Loud, soft, fast, slow, happy, sad, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then later on, when I joined Flo and Eddie and the Turtles, Frank would come up on stage and do the same shit. And it was really great. And the highlight was going over to his house with Motorhead Sherwood and Jimmy Carl Black. Frank wrote a song for Jimmy called "Falling in Love is a Stupid Habit." And it's actually on YouTube. But it was great. In his living room was a gigantic hole in his living room, like a 14-foot, 15-foot circle. And it had a ladder. And you climb down the ladder to the bottom of this hole, and there was a grand piano.
Whoa.
With one microphone hanging over it. And that's how he recorded his piano. So we all climbed down into his hole there, and he showed me how to play the song. So I ended up playing the song, and Frank sang it, and Jimmy was listening. So it's a very, very cool recording. I'm very proud of that.
And very cool, to have a hole that goes somewhere to this magic place, the piano. It's really cool. That's awesome.
I know. And Frank was just like Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah.
Frank was a very shy, relaxed, easygoing, friendly guy. He wasn't an asshole.
What I heard from his sister. I'm good friends with Patrice, and one of my first ever interviews, more of the classic rock side of my podcast, was with Patrice, his sister. And I read her book, and I wanted to interview her and talk about Zappa. And I felt like Frank was in the room. It just felt like it was meant to happen, and it was just a really cool experience. And I'm a huge Zappa head myself, and he was very much of a family man, which somewhat surprised me, but at the same time I could see it, because it was just like he always played a character in the media. He played the media the way to make his music sell, but he also didn't care what people think, and that's what was the best part. And he just did the fun stuff and had fun. And 200 Motels, I have the original with the poster. It's just so much fun in that.
My God, I know. Yeah. And it's really ironic that Flo and Eddie are the background singers on Lonesome Cowboy Bert. The Jimmy Carl Black song. And then here I am playing with Geronimo Black with Jimmy and Flo and Eddie and the Turtles. So like it really is a very interesting a course of events.
Must have been definitely like Nirvana in your head, was just like so much just happening, and I can't imagine it be like all at once, but in certain amount of years, of course. But just very cool to see like Zappa at the same time and then meeting everybody. It's like, oh my god. I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's just great. It was, but at that age, I really didn't feel the impact until I'm in, later on in life. Because while you're going through it, in your 20s, it's okay, but you don't really understand how dynamic and important it is until later on in life
with the podcast, and with interviewing so many guests, you don't even realize. And then afterwards, you have a big appreciation.
Yeah, for sure.
I picked 2 more names from the book. I don't want to spoil the whole book. I want people to be able to get the book and enjoy it, of course. But I picked 2 more names that threw out to me. The next one I really got to know is Ringo. I mean, we just did a Beatles special. This is perfectly tied in. What was it like meeting the Ringo?
Well, it's really wonderful. In 1968, I'm sitting at my harpsichord writing some songs. And then I had like a daydream, like this premonition that a Beatle came over to my house and sat down next to me and took his shoes off. Well, in 1991, when I was working with Harry Nilsson, he got Ringo to come over to my house. And in my living room, we were doing children's stories, and Ringo was doing the narration, and then Van Dyke Parks and Harry and myself were going to do the background music. But so Ringo comes into my living room. It was 100 degrees out. I had to turn off the air conditioner because it made too much noise. It picked up on the mic. So we're all sweating there in my living room. So Ringo sits next to me. He takes his shoes off. So that premonition came true.
Very cool.
Yeah. It was a lot of great stories with Ringo. Ringo told me one amazing story. After we recorded, he said that Paul McCartney was on an airplane with Mal Evans, their roadie guy.
Yeah.
And they were eating food or whatever. And Paul said to Mal, I'm trying to start I want to do an album of a fictitious, make-believe band and not call it the Beatles, call it something else. So there was a salt and pepper shaker on the tray. And so Mal Evans picks up the pepper and he says, how about Sergeant Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band? So it was Mal Evans who thought of the name, Sergeant Pepper's. And this is from Ringo. This is what Ringo told Harry and me in my living room.
That's so cool. And I remember watching Dinner with Jimmy, as mentioned before, and I had fun with that film. To me, it was like it was really corny, but it was really fun, and I love that because it fit the Turtles style very well, in my opinion. And it was just really cool seeing the film. But they did mention that I think it was Howard's narration or Howard's character when they're listening to Sgt. Pepper just over and over and over, and that's so cool to have it the day before it came out. What the movie was stating, but it could have been longer. But it just must have been really awesome to be back in that time, just to be able to go see the Beatles, meet them, and then have a Sgt. Pepper listen. And I think Graham Nash was part of that too, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean,
really sick. I'm like, oh my god.
I mean, Sgt. Pepper is the most amazing recording.
Yeah.
Literally, because it's a 4-track. So every time they would transfer from machine to machine, you would lose generation. You would lose the highs and the lows and shit.
Oh, wow.
But the way that Jeff Emmerich did it, it was incredibly clean and incredibly clear. I mean, that's an amazing feat, just to record all that stuff on 4-track. Like the most amazing track on Sergeant Pepper to me is Good Morning, Good Morning. And it's on YouTube and it's on the anthology discs. They have the bass track, the drum track, the guitar track, the horns, and all the animals all separate. But just listening to Ringo and Paul and John do the basic track to that song is the most unbelievable thing in the world to me. It's incredible.
Well, I love and the remaster of Sgt. Pepper was sonically just amazing. I got the CD version, and I got all the bonus tracks and stuff. But listening to the remastered, it was like, oh my! Like I have really nice monitors set up for my I record in my room. I have a room studio set up, so I got really nice monitors. And the first thing I wanted to do was literally. First thing, I'm listening to the Beatles. They're my speaker test. I was like, I need to hear Sgt. Pepper's the remastered. Revolver's my favorite album. Love Revolver. But all the Beatles albums are so sonically good. It's like, just awesome.
I know. I have every single frickin' bootleg on vinyl.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah. Gary, the drummer from the Knack, had every goddamn video of every Ed Sullivan show and all the the British BBC stuff, and wow, really great stuff. I love it.
Yeah, I want to thank you for coming on for the podcast section of this. Thank you very much. We're gonna have Andy come back here for the radio show, so we'll be doing that real soon, and we'll throw that onto the radio show. So catch that on the radio sooner than the podcast. So you'll actually already hear it on the radio before the podcast. So you'll already actually hear it. Never mind. So we'll do it to that. So, all right, we'll just do a little pause here so I have the space. Cough for a sec, and then thank you very much too, Andy. This has been very awesome.
Oh yeah, it's fun. I love doing these.
Perfect. So we'll get right into the radio show. Right, here we go. Hello, everybody. This is Unlikely Places, Pop and Rock Radio here on Mad Wasp. This is your host, Final Man Jeb, with the Andy Cahan. Hey, Andy, how are you?
I'm excellent because I'm on your show.
Perfect. Well, Andy's from Flo and Eddie, the Turtles. Man, it's been great. We just did a podcast together, so you guys can hear that real soon. It'll be out in a few, and I'll make sure on the radio show to announce when it comes out. Well, Andy picked 2 songs for you, and I picked 2 from the Turtles. He picked 2 from Flo and Eddie. So let's get right into it. Tell me about Rebecca.
Oh man, what a great song that is. Mark and Howard found it somewhere, the original. I forgot who did the original. You can probably Google it. But anyhow, it had a wonderful piano part. And so I learned we made up the piano part at rehearsal. And when we went to record it, the engineer rewound the tape too far to a previous song.
Oh, no.
So when we counted off the intro, it was erasing the other song. Oh. So we quickly stopped the tape, and we fixed all that. But that was really funny. But Rebecca was a really great song. Flo and Eddie did it on the Dinah Shore show.
Oh, okay.
And Mark sat down at the piano, miming my piano part. But I love that song. It's such a wonderful song. Really good song.
I actually took my first listen to it because I do have some Flo and Eddie stuff, but I didn't have that album, and I loved it as soon as I heard it. And I also love the next one you picked, which is Best Possible Me. Tell me about that one.
Well, that one was incredible because the chords are very simple. It's like, F and G, 2 simple chords. But Flo and Eddie asked me to do embellishing and make it move, make it glissando and moving it and making it interesting. So I did all this movement on the piano part on the song where it goes up and down the scale and all this stuff. And the Alan McMillan, the string and horn arranger for the album, literally verbatim copied my piano parts for the strings and the horns. So that was a gigantic compliment to my piano playing there. I was very excited about that.
Oh, wow. And are you on Wooden Head by the Turtles? I'm just trying to look it up to me.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I joined the Turtles in 1973.
Oh, and this was 1970. Okay.
Yeah, and I played straight through till 2012.
Okay.
I was associated with them, and then they used Godfrey Townsend and his guys from New York since then for the Happy Together.
Okay, for the Happy Together stuff,
Yeah.
which I saw it was actually just Mark Volman from the Turtles. Howard Kalin wasn't with him, and it was the guy that sang for the Archies was with him, and I can't remember his name. But it
Ron
was
Dante.
Yes, that's it.
Ron Dante.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yeah, Ron Dante produced Barry Manilow.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
very
Ron's
cool.
a really good singer and a really good guitar player, and he knows his stuff.
I love the Archies
And-
too, so it's perfect.
Yeah. So anyway, Howard had a health issue, and he couldn't tour anymore.
Oh, okay.
So for the 2019 Happy Together tour, they put out a CD of the live show to sell at the concerts. But Mark and Ron wanted Howard to sing Happy Together for the live CD. So they sent me a file for my Pro Tools of just the live band on stage playing Happy Together. And then Howard came over to my living room
Oh, wow.
and sat down, and we smoked a joint for a couple hours. And then he sang Happy Together one take. No
Wow.
reverb, no EQ, no nothing.
Wow, that's
Just
awesome.
straight.
That's a
And
dream.
that's exactly how he sang Happy Together originally.
Ooh.
It was one take, and there was no effects and no reverb or no nothing. It was just one take.
Oh, I'm a very power pop, raw garage rock guy, so that to me is like dream come true and a big hit. Just a one take. It's
Man,
awesome.
yeah. And what's a very interesting story about Happy Together vocal is that Howard loved Tell Her No,
Ah.
or maybe it was another Zombie song, and one of their hits. The lead vocal was very silky and soft for the verse, and if she should tell you I love you,
Mhm.
very
Love
silky.
the Zombies.
And then tell her no, and then it goes into the rock
Yeah.
hard vocal. So Howard took that formula and put it to Happy Together. He made the verses very imagine me and you, very soft and silky. And
Yep,
then,
and then the
I
big-
can't see me, then it goes into the strong chorus.
And what
So
a
that's how
classic.
Howard, what's the guy's name? Colin, the lead singer for the Zombies?
Oh man,
I
I have to
forgot
look
his
this
name.
up. And I see I'm a big
Something-
Zombies fan, and I'm gonna look this up right now. The Zombies, because that might Time of the Season. Those are all classics right there.
Oh man, my favorite Zombie song is a song called "Remember You," and if you Google that, it's like the most amazing track and amazing vocals. It's called "Remember You"
I'm
by
gonna
the
definitely check
Zombie.
that out. I might have already heard it, but I
Yeah,
want to make sure because I definitely will check it out. I
That
know there's
is
so
my
many
favorite
singers. I'm looking
Zombie
for
song.
because Colin Blunstone is one of them.
That's
I know
it.
That. That's it. Okay.
Colin Blunstone.
Yeah. I actually have we went to a tag sale. It was really cool. We picked up a Zombie CD, and the guy was like $1, and I was like, okay. Brought it home. Didn't realize that it was signed by Argent and Blunstone. It was like,
Oh my God.
I lost it because I was like, I don't have any signed stuff from any of them, and I love the Zombies, and I was just like, oh, that's going right in the collection for $1. I'll take it.
Holy
Yeah, it was
moly, that's
awesome.
wonderful.
It was one of the later albums, but still, I was like, this is amazing. I got a few vinyls from the
they have
Zombies, the
their
Turtles.
autographs.
Yeah.
That's great.
Oh, yeah. And then, so I picked two songs. I picked I Can't Stop and Is It Any Wonder from Wooden Head. Those are my two favorites. So we'll spin those for you guys now.
Cool.
And thank you for coming on both the radio show and the podcast. It's been an honor. I was very excited when you reached out. I didn't realize just who you were. And I looked you up and I was just like, oh my, I should know who this is. The Turtles are one of my old top favorites of the classic 60s bands. And I was just so honored for you to reach out. How did you find the podcast, or how did you find out about us?
Well, on Facebook, it gives you an option to find new friends.
Oh, okay.
And so I clicked on that, and I look at the person's friend list.
And you saw probably my
And
profile
I
thing
see-
too.
Yeah, and then I see, hey,
Yeah.
you know, we got some
Yeah.
mutual friends here.
Perfect.
And I reach out, and you know, obviously I'm promoting my book,
Yeah.
but I'm trying to do it gently without shoving it down somebody's
No, yeah, and that's how
throat.
I do with the music. I'm just like, I very much just like, hey, if you want to listen to this, here you go. If you're not, okay. You know, I don't want to, you know, make it to where I'm the enemy. Like, listen to this, you know. I understand.
Yeah, so that's
Very cool.
literally how I've been promoting my book on Facebook.
Perfect.
I really don't use Instagram or TikTok or
Yeah,
Tweet or
neither.
anything.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
actually deleted
Facebook
social
is
media
my
as of recently
favorite.
to take a break from it, so I'm glad that we were able to catch up before that. And then I have Messenger. I still have Messenger, so I'm able to, you know, message, and I go on Facebook on the computer to post when the radio shows up, you know, promote it. But I'm taking a break socially from it, just because I'm like, I need it. I'm young. I need to explore the world, and I need to get my music out there. I want to play in bands and stuff too, so trying to get that all together.
Yeah.
And do you still play music? Do you still make music?
All the time.
Awesome.
I'm writing songs all the time.
Let me know if you ever need a
and,
guitarist or singer or somebody to work with. I'm always looking to collab. I'm not afraid to ask. That would be-
where do you live?
I'm in Connecticut on the East Coast of the
Oh,
U.S.
Connecticut.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
But,
yeah, my father was born in Waterbury, Connecticut.
Really? I'm right near there. I'm in Prospect, a small town near there. So it's very, very cool.
Very cool.
Oh, very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. Well, if you're ever in the area, let me know. I'd love to meet up, grab a coffee or something.
Sure, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
It's with the pandemic stuff.
Yeah, I
it's
know,
just
it's-
a little difficult.
Oh, it's an imaginary world now. When you're like, hey, want to go out for coffee? Next year. You know, it's definitely a very strange world.
We all know it's very stressful with the
Yeah.
political unrest
Mhm.
and the climate change and the pandemic. Is three gigantic monsters that are trying to kill us.
Oh yeah, that's why music is such a great energy. And I mean, I've gone back to like the 50s checking out stuff, and now the 60s have always been my dad's 65, grew up with the Beatles, so it's always been in my home, you know, listening to it. And man, I'm just excited that I'll be in recovery from wisdom teeth surgery. I'll be jamming to a lot of music, just trying to get through the pain.
Wow.
So should be fun.
Are they doing gum surgery or no?
I don't know. I just know that they're extracting the 3 impacted teeth. I got the
okay.
unlucky, but it should be okay.
Yeah, extractions aren't bad, really.
Okay,
I've
that's
had
good.
a couple of extracted, and
Awesome.
it's not bad.
It's good to hear. Yeah, I don't know if they're. I know I'm gonna have stitches, and I can't like spit or can't do any of that crazy stuff. But you know, all that.
Right,
so.
you gotta. Right, be careful.
Yeah, I
but
don't wanna throw the
your
stitches,
tongue
but-
will feel the stitches. You'll
good.
explore your mouth with your tongue and feel
And
the
know where
little
they are,
bumpy
yeah.
stitches.
Well, I thank you very much for coming on. You will actually be on air the quickest due to just being that I needed to do 2 radio shows because I need to take a week off for the recovery. So you'll be on episode 17 of the radio show. So it won't be this Wednesday, but it won't be tomorrow. It'll be next Wednesday, and I'll throw it on and I'll remind you when you're up on air, and we'll share the songs and. Be a really cool time. I'm even going to throw the Zappa version. I asked you earlier about if you were on it, but I'm going to throw that on as well onto the radio show with Happy Together from Fillmore East with Zappa. So I always had that. That's a fun
right.
one. Enjoy your evening, my
Yeah.
friend. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and
problem.
I wanted to thank you for posting that
Yeah.
Mickey Dolenz.
I had fun with that. I saw that in the when what you sent me from the editor there. And I was just like,
Yeah.
that is fun. Like flowing. I just saw the monkeys. I just saw Mickey and Mike. Mickey and Mike. There we go. I just saw them at Mohegan Sun with Rich Dart on drums, who's a friend of mine. He drums for them now. He's actually going to be on my next recording, my next single. I hired him in studio to just pound some good old monkey sounding drums for me because I really wanted that sound. And man, he is awesome. But Mickey's great, and Mike, God bless him. Oh man, he's getting up there. But it's so great to see him, and it was just like, ugh. But it was just so great. But I love that. I love hearing Flo and Eddie and you guys doing the.
I'm a believer.
I'm a believer. Yeah, that was awesome.
And then Mickey says, "I'm a retriever" at the end. Remember?
Yeah, yep. I was like, I thought at the sense it wasn't Mickey singing for a second, and then I'm like, nope, that's Mickey. I could hear it. I was like, I thought it was just you guys fooling around, you know. But then all of a sudden it's Mickey too, and I'm like, oh my god.
Well, the most amazing part about that video is that it syncs up perfectly.
It does. I was watching the video. I was like, oh, it was like, all right, so you're Peter, you know, you're playing Torque's parts.
Right. Really funny.
Yeah.
You know, I'm on a Davy Jones record called "Pool It." The
okay.
Monkees did it on Rhino, and I'm on a Davy Jones song called "I'll Love You Forever."
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, very cool.
Yeah. So,
okay, I'll have to tell my buddy.
I'm
My buddy's
monkey.
a huge Monkees fanatic, and so am I. But
yeah, I'm a monkey and a turtle.
there you go. Oh, you're all the animals. You gotta join the animals if they were still, you know, you gotta join with them. Be everything.
I'm an animal too because Eric Burden and I recorded a radio show with Flo and Eddie.
Oh, that's very cool.
We started to do "We Got to Get Out of This Place."
Oh, I love that song. That's my favorite animal song too. So much good
I
stuff.
know.
We'll have to, if you're ever free and want to just call and talk music, I'm always around. I'm always just hanging out.
Right.
I'm always in the studio, so it's in my bedroom, so it works out good. Thank you so much.
Just plug the book one more time.
Yep.
Okay, all you have to do is Google the most famous musician you never heard of, and it'll pop right up, and you can order it from Amazon or directly from me autographed. And that's all
Perfect.
I need to say.
Yep, guys, and then we'll link down below to, Google it, or we'll link down below directly to a couple locations. We'll do some research and get some in there for you guys. But as well, Google it's perfect, and we'll. This has been an honor, Andy. Thank you very much.
Well, you're totally welcome. It's a lot of fun. Lots of fun.
You're tuned into Mad Wasp Radio, so don't forget where you are. Don't change that dial.